Once again, thank you so much for tuning in tonight of Inside the Industry, talking to people who have either connections with the gaming industry or do something really cool and really unique with the gaming industry. So I'm really super excited to have this opportunity to talk to somebody that I've actually been looking forward to talking to for a while now. Just mainly because I think a large reason of why I started streaming happened because of this individual. But, you know, as we'll learn tonight, there's so much more than just streaming. There's a whole area of expertise and retro game expertise as well. So thank you to everyone who has come out tonight. I appreciate you taking the time to be here. And of course, we're going to bring on AnnK. Thank you so much for coming out, and thank you so much for being part of this stream tonight.
Yay, I'm happy, I'm excited.
All right. Yeah, I've like I said before, your channel is actually a big reason that kind of pushed me to start streaming, actually, and start taking a look at some older retro games. So it really is kind of cool to have you on here. So yeah, let's get started, I guess. So what can you tell us about yourself?
Oh, well, mainly on my streams, I have a very big retro focus. I'm kind of in love with the MSX right now, and I've been using an emulator called OpenMSX to kind of just play all my games. Like, I do own an MSX. I can show it. Like, I show it off constantly on my streams.
Oh,
so,
that's cool.
Yay! So, like, this is the make and all I have. I have the game in there still. We've got Twin Bee still in there. Yeah, explore them and play them online and stream them for your friends.
So what was the inspiration behind, streaming retro games? I know there's a small handful of people who stream retro, but especially something as rare as like the MSX. You know, that's kind of an obscure console, at least in North America, I believe.
I've kind of been like in love with playing older games, and it's mainly because like I was a child who grew up who got hand-me-downs. We'd always be doing like our back-to-school shopping at the Salvation Army and places like that. So whatever new game system or computer, anything that was out there, I would just be like, oh shucks, there's no way I'm going to be able to afford that, and then there's no point asking my parents either. Gotcha. Like I remember like one day, like I was like super young, but my dad came home with like a computer, and he was like, hey, you wanted a computer like super bad. Well, I got you one, and it was like a TRS-80, which is like the most ancient. Like, and he was like, some lady at work was just giving this away, and maybe you could use it. And I just studied like as much as I possibly could about that computer. And the cool thing is that I could go to the library and get these really old books, like super ancient, smelly books that had coding to make your own games.
Oh,
and I was just like, wow, like I'm gonna do that. And it came with like some games and some software and 2 like disk drives and a dock matrix printer. And like I found this one book that was like, oh, you can get this hooked up to the internet. And I was just like, wow, could I actually surf the internet on a TRS-80? But like, no, absolutely not. So yeah, and it kind of took off from there, because like retro when like I was a kid was affordable, right? And it was something that I could like get into, and there was a lot of information out there, or if you could just find it or search it, unlike something that was new where it's just kind of like starting off and doing things.
Right. Well, you mentioned that retro was affordable back then. Where you're at right now, have retro games have the prices skyrocketed like they have?
Oh shucks. Yeah, they have.
Oh
yeah,
gosh,
totally.
Yeah. It's ridiculous to see like even like more common, like more up-to-date consoles like, you know, the GameCube, and to see, you know, something like Mario Kart for $60, and I'm just like, that's ridiculous. And let's not even begin talking about like older titles and stuff like that. That's crazy. So what besides the MSX, do you have any other retro consoles then, or like any obscure consoles?
I got my Apple IIc in the back right there. Maybe we can like, I'm squishing your head.
That's okay. When you were growing up then, was there anyone else who was into retro games as well? Or was this your almost like solitary passion and interest?
I met this boy who was in another class. He was in the French class. And he was just obsessed with DOS games at the time when like people were moving away from DOS games, and it was like all like PC gaming and Windows stuff and everything, but he was like still really into like really old stuff.
Oh wow.
And yeah, I immediately started hanging out with him specifically because he had those games.
That's a good reason to hang out with somebody, real talk. In addition to your streams where you stream retro games, I've noticed as well that you do translations on those games, but through machine translation. So can you explain like what that is to people who might not be aware of what that is?
Well, first of all, I want to say, like, I'm super appreciative of all the hard work that, like, fan translators put into old games. Like,
oh, sure.
It's like, yeah, it's just, like, so much more wanted, convenient, and just, like, oh, like, thank you so much for people who spent, like, their spare time and everything to do stuff like that. But there are so many games. How do you share like a really old format that's like in a completely different language when your grasp on like the actual language is not all that strong, right?
Right.
But what really helps is using things like a text hooker or using a program like Universal Game Translator that kind of like just do like a Google Translate. It's almost as like you're taking your phone, but not as ghetto.
Well, how accurate is the machine translation then?
It's garbage.
But it's enough. It gives you enough context to figure out like what you.
It does, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like some things like menu items and everything. Sometimes those come through like okay, but like often you're getting like a purple monkey dishwasher because like
I see.
It's not as simple as it is, which is why like nothing is going to replace like a very good like actual person translator to find like those nuances and everything that's going to be in different languages. So
for sure. Have you ever had any issues with the machine translation? Like, has it ever just completely steered you wrong, or has it for the most part been like a useful guide to kind of guide you through these games?
Yeah, sometimes it's not the best. Certain key points would get lost in the machine code translation. So it's like they were actually telling you need to do these steps in order to progress, but if you don't get that or understand that, you're wasting like so much time just running around and
right.
Like, what am I doing? What is it?
When you started streaming then, did you ever have any intention of eventually, moving on to something as advanced as machine translation, or did it just start out just wanting to stream games, or did you even start out streaming retro games? Did you start out with something different?
The first time like I ever streamed, I think it was for like a Starman.net fan fest that they were doing, and I want to believe that it was Chrono Trigger. I think it was the Chrono Trigger one. Okay. And I had so many problems.
Gotcha.
It was baby's first stream, and it was like, oh shucks, it was like a little bit of a hot mess, but like got through it.
You are the publisher of a zine, a actual classic zine. So how would you describe a zine to people? Because people think magazine, but it's a little bit different than that. You can't just go to your supermarket and pick this up, I'm assuming.
No, I would describe like a zine as any kind of like small publication or magazine or book that is self-published, and there's limited quantities of it, and that's kind of the appeal and attractment for it. So I got the latest issue like right here. And yeah, some people like there's tons of people who still make zines today, which is like fantastic and interesting and wild. Like all the different pieces are pieces of artwork that are done to other retro streamers, like their stream and the games that they play.
That's so cool, yeah.
So it's kind of like a fun. Oh, in this issue, there's an interview with me in it.
Hey.
after 4 years, I finally get my own interview, so you can actually have a look to see what my terrible looking desk looks like.
How many other people are involved with this zine?
It's like mostly me, but like I'm lucky and fortunate and very happy that I have other people who submit their artwork and want to do things and be active and do stuff. Like we have Goemon Sama. I think he's in the chat like right now. He's phenomenal. You guys should go follow him. It's Goemon Sama with a 1 on Twitter.
What was the inspiration behind creating a zine?
I was just doing artwork to my friends' streams, right? I was just doing it for the fun of it. And like sometimes it would be like, you do like a troll one and you're just like, oh, that's funny.
Right.
Or like you spend some time and you do like a really good one, or you just kind of have fun, or you listen to what people in chat are saying and they're like, oh, I would really like this, or like, oh, try this. And then you just start doing it. And I was like waking up with just piles and piles and piles and piles of artwork just like everywhere. And I was like, I should probably do something with this.
Right.
I got like a pile of them.
That's
like, just all ready to go. So this is like, Is this been like 1 year? This is like what the whole year, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the new one's coming up, so that would be that. It used to be just all me. And then I was just like, no, it'd be so much cooler if I can get all my friends who do amazingly cool art.
To get them in on it, yeah.
Yeah, get them in on it.
Well, how did you build up your fan base for your zines then? Was it just something that naturally happened, or did you really have to kind of just, push yourself out there?
A lot of it was like just showing up in people's streams and drawing art and just sharing it with people. And people were just like, hey, that's cool. And you start talking to them, and every single time, like, you come in chat, you say hi to them, and they say hi back to you and everything. And it's like almost everybody, I think, who backs a zine, like, we have like a little bit of a connection or something that's there because like they enjoy the art, they enjoy like the whole idea and the concept behind it.
I know everybody always talks about like, well, you have to, how do I get my numbers up? How do I do this? How do I promote myself? But I think it's amazing that you're actually promoting like something, physical that somebody could hold. You're not just promoting, a stream or numbers or anything like that. You're creating like actual physical content, and that's really cool. So have you, what was the inspiration behind the name, the Dankzine?
That's a very good question. And it actually came up in a friend's stream. Apologies. It was Puri Puri. He now streams on YouTube. So if you guys are looking to check out his streams, he's still streaming. He used to be on Twitch, but now he's on YouTube.
Okay.
And it was just him. I would just do the art and would just share it, and it didn't really have a name or anything. And he was just like, "Oh, it's AnnK," because sometimes when you see that name down there, you say AnnK, but it's like AnnK. I don't care.
Right.
I don't really care how people say it. But he was just like, "Oh, look, here's some dank art," and it kind of just fit. I was like, shucks, that's so good. I have to use it.
Does the content of your magazine, does that have anything to do with what you're streaming?
What really anchors down like every single issue for me is when I find someone new to interview or to talk to or the feature. Okay. And that's kind of like my big main anchor that I have. And I did an interview with Ash Said Hi, and she is actually Twitch ambassador for the retro community.
Oh, cool.
So it's like, cool. Yeah. So we sat down and we did like this really awesome like interview, and it was like we took all of her emotes and everything. And the other cool thing that we do with Dankzine is we make stickers.
Oh,
so you get a little sticker pack. It's a little bit of extra fun stuff. I like doing a little bit of extra stuff, but
no, that's awesome.
A lot of the stickers are like screenshots from like everybody who's in my Discord who finds a game like that somebody's playing and it's just absolutely dank, or just like that's just a good face or something that's good, and we make it into a sticker. But we always try to at least like, so the featured streamer, we try to put their emotes as the stickers as well, because like everybody loves the emotes, and like some people would like to get those emotes like themselves and everything.
Is it hard to get interviews with these individuals? Like, if she's the ambassador, I imagine, she probably gets.
She's got to do it.
Oh, she's got to do it. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm joking. No, she was like super excited to do it. Usually, I just message people. Like, I'll just stumble across like a streamer. Usually it's from like a raid or like a friend recommendation or something, or sometimes like I'll just have like my radar out there and I'll be like, okay.
Right. What do you feel is like the hardest old console or old type of games to stream? I know you mentioned MSX, I know you mentioned the machine translation.
For me, it's always Apple games, despite the fact that like I'm very into the Apple world, but it's like I struggle a lot with the Apple emulations, and it's such a pain because like a lot of those games, like I loved playing those, like those black and white Macintosh games. Yeah, because like when I was a kid, like, you'd always go, we weren't allowed to go into the good computer lab. Like when I was a kid, like you couldn't go there during recess, you couldn't go in there during lunch hour, but you totally were allowed to go into the study area that had like really old, ancient, dusty computers. That's another reason why I took the liking retro, because who wants to go outside and like play on recess when I can go and play video games? I'm not going to argue with you there. It's interesting too, because I think that the Apple look is like really distinct. Like I feel like it's a look that just, the only game I could think of recently is World of Horror, which kind of emulated that black and white look on there, but like it's so weird. That's the thing, you don't hear a lot of people talk about it, but at the same time,
it's so distinct, and you show somebody an image and it's like they instantly go back in time and they see it. You also not only stream games, you stream older films, and am I correct? Okay, how does that work? How do you do that then?
Okay, well, like, it just started at the beginning of the lockdown, and like I started working from home. Like, a lot of people were working at home,
right?
And a lot of my coworkers were just kind of super depressed about like everything that was happening in the world. And meanwhile, I'm sitting at my place and I'm just like music blaring, and I had like, I don't know, I had this like gross obsession just to find like grindhouse trailers from like the 60s and 70s. I was just like, I feel like watching some really old horror movies. I'd be like, okay, what was the name of that one, or like this, and just kind of looking around. And then I started to find like, oh wow, there's like compilations and a whole bunch of stuff. And so I shared it with my one coworker, and he was like, how did you know I needed this like right now?
This is what I need. This is what I needed, but I didn't know I needed.
Yeah. So it was like, this will be a fun thing to do. That will be, we'll watch trailers together. And it kind of just turned to the whole thing. Like, can we just watch movies together? So we do a Dank movie night every single Saturdays in my Discord.
Okay.
And what we do is that like we watch the trailers from my stream, and anyone that I think that's worthy to be on the list, we put it on the list, and then we randomly roll three movies, 3 picks, and we have everybody vote on them, and we watch the one that gets the first like top votes.
Okay. So how do you get people onto your Discord then? Is this an invite, or do you have to be super dank to be invited, or how does that work out?
I think all you have to do is like come into the stream and like follow, and then it's like you get linked into your Discord that way.
Okay.
If you back me on Patreon, there's a way that you can get access through the Discord that way. If you're just like, I just want to get that. Yeah, if you follow me on Twitch, then you can get an invite to the Discord, and you're welcome to be there.
Okay.
Just be kind.
Awesome. That's golden rule then. Do you feel that the games on the consoles that you play, the more obscure games, do you feel like they just have that it element, you know, that thing that just separates them from every other game at the time, like something that makes them, what makes them stand out, what makes them so memorable and unique?
It's like for me, it's like it's an obsession, and it's been an obsession for like an extremely long time in my life. And it's kind of like, it's very interesting to see how many risks or how things started, and just how they built and evolved like over the years and everything. Like I'll probably go back to like when I streamed like War of the Dead. War of the Dead was like kind of interesting that it was like one of the first early survival horror games, and that was like a genre that had never been like, it had been touched, like spooky games were like a thing, like Boo Haunted House. Like other things where like monsters would just come out and like eat your character or something. Like there would be disturbing things like that in like video games, but like this was kind of like one of the first or early ones where they're just kind of like, okay, here's this concept, and it's like such a big, like, you know, there's like so many different titles, and it's a huge like genre right now that just stands on its own, like in video games as itself, right? It's kind of like, oh, where's the next zombie game coming out, right? It's
right.
But it's really interesting to see how they did it, and like the risks and ways that they tried to like actually translate this idea of a survival horror game into something that could actually be playable and enjoyable for other people.
Most games in general, survival horror seems like such a foreign concept for, you know, at that period of time. It just seems like almost unthinkable, you know, to have that level of trying to survive from these monstrosities in a video game. Compared to just, you know, like mowing them down. There's been a recent, like for the last maybe 2-3 years, like a lot of artwork I see for like, you know, screensavers and backgrounds and on t-shirts and that whole aesthetic movement. Yeah, exactly. Seem to come from, you know, like the PC-98 or, you know, the MSX. What is it about that style? What is it about that visual style that's made it like such a comeback to people who've probably never played these games or might not even know like what these consoles are, what these games are? There's
a beautiful technical skill to pixel art that just like astounds me, and like some of the best pixel artists were coming out in those days or working in those days, and it's like you want to sometimes like share that or that look or that feel, or this is how games used to look back in these days, and you look over at like how Western games like were looking at that time, and it's like night and day. And that's the thing that kind of blows your brain apart when you find out that you're only looking at like a select palette of like different colors, and how they can like use those colors in a way to kind of get like a different look, or even make like completely different colors themselves by just doing a pattern or doing a layout or something.
It seems so timeless, you know, it just seems like it's aged so well. And when you consider when it was made, it really is sort of mind-blowing compared to, you know, we were probably playing like, you know, like Sonic the Hedgehog or something, and then you have something, you know, beautiful, this pixel art from like this PC Engine game that never even came out, you know, in North America. That's incredible. Did Canada get the same consoles that like North America got? Was the NES, Super NES, and 64, were those still like the popular consoles, or was it
I know
different?
we got the red Wii. We got the red Wii, and you guys didn't get the red Wii.
We didn't get the red
like,
Wii, you're right.
You don't want the red Wii because like you can't hook it up to like Wi-Fi or something like that. So why would you want that?
It's just basically like minimum Wii. So all the big names are like still the same in Canada as they are in North America.
There was a time like I did a little bit of research on this, because like I have to remember this, like I was very young. Mm-hmm. We used to have this store in Canada that's called Zellers.
Okay.
Right? You're not gonna know. I think at that time Zellers was, or like way back when like Atari was out and like C64 games were like a thing.
Right.
Like Zellers actually had their own, like they were basically copying and making bootlegs of like Atari games,
really?
But slapping the Zellers logo on it to like sell, because this was like uncharted territory, like back in the back in those days.
It's the Wild West back then with games, and you know, like even when you think about all the unlicensed games, and for the NES, I know at least in America, we had like unlicensed games that would come out that weren't technically approved by Nintendo. You had like Bible games and a bootleg version of Pac-Man or something like that. So are they like collector's items now then?
They're big collector items now, just because like of the fact that like I think nobody bought them, and like they threw them all out, or they wouldn't keep them, and like just the fact that it's like these would only be sold in Zellers stores. So it's like you would have to live in Canada and like be cheap and go to Zellers and buy these.
So I could imagine some grandma somewhere is like sitting on a gold mine in her attic or something with like a box full of Zelda's game. Do you have a favorite type of genre of games you like to cover, or do you have a favorite type of game that's like near and dear to you that you just
near and dear
resonate with?
I think like my go-to like near and dear game is always going to probably be Earthbound. It's a very good one, and like it was only by chance that I got to play it, because like I never had like Super NES like at all, like whatsoever, and I saved up money to rent a Super NES. What was out at the time? I think the N64 was even out at this time.
Yeah, that was like one of the last games on this NES. So yeah, that's at the tail end.
But because it was older media, right? You could go to Rogers and you could rent a Super NES without a credit card, right?
Oh wow!
I would have to put $100 deposit down on it, so I would have to work extra to get the $100 as a deposit. And then rent it for a whole weekend. Yeah, I just wanted to play Earthbound because I saw my friend playing it at her house, and she was like, "Oh, this game is so good," and I was like, "Yes, I know what I'm doing this Thanksgiving."
It's a really unique and charming game at the time, and even now, you know, there's very little like it. Do you think Nintendo's ever going to put out Mother 3? Are we ever going to see Earthbound again, or do you think that's just done?
No.
I hate bursting everybody's bubble. We all talk about Earthbound, and then it gets really quiet because we know like this is never gonna this is all we're going to get. That fan translation is all we're gonna get.
When it comes to Mother 3, I think you're lucky that like you have a fan translation.
Oh yeah.
And it's a very good fan translation. I mean, they should just take that fan translation and just roll with it for all I know. I have set my expectations on Nintendo to be completely disappointed all the time. And then therefore every single year that goes by, I'm just like, hey, waiting. I'm not disappointed.
There's always that one guy, and he's like, at the next Nintendo Direct, he goes, yeah, I hear Earthbound's getting announced. I'm like, I don't know where you got that from, man. I'm like,
I bet I know that person.
Right, he's like, I bet you, he's like, I'm telling you, man, it's Half-Life 3 now. Like, Earthbound's coming any day now. Do you have time, or do you play modern games as well, or do you just like to stick with retro games?
I do play modern games, like I said, like, even though, like, World of Horror is, like, a modern game that has that old, like, aesthetic look to it and that feel, I did stream Death Stranding.
Okay.
I have this giant Death Stranding poster. It's huge. I don't know if I can't show it. I'm on my iMac, but believe me, it's there. It's huge. It's, like, ginormous. And I'm a huge fan of a game that's called Snatcher. I don't know if
that is one of my favorite games we played on my channel. That's probably one of my favorite games of all time, actually. Yeah. I get so excited when somebody talks about Snatcher, because usually nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Well, that's me. Every time I'm coming in, I'm like, hey, you should play Snatcher, guys. Hey, Snatcher. And then people are like, what's that?
Yeah. They're like, oh, I don't know. It looks kind of old. I'm like, oh, but it's good. It's so... The art and everything in that game is, like, amazing, so...
I actually have, like, a full copy of Snatcher for
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got that.
You have pure platinum.
I have all these investments, like I love the Dreamcast. I have a lot of, like, Dreamcast games, but the beautiful thing is, like, I just burn them, and then I can use them and everything. It's really easy to do that, and possibly even for this, but it's kind of like, you have to think about it. How much is Snatcher going for? And, like, it's not going to be a thing in, like, 10 years or 15 years or 20 years from now.
It's like Snatcher, Panzer Dragoon Saga, all those games, like, you know, it's super limited quantities. Like, they're just going to, you know, disappear. Oh my god. I'm sorry, I'm gushing that you have a physical copy of that. You could probably retire now, you know, with how much that's worth. That's incredible.
I'm a huge Kojima fan.
Like,
I have tons of stuff.
Absolutely.
Like, I have, like, I do have a Turbo Duo, and I do have Snatcher for this as well. And I love showing off the PC Engine version of Snatcher.
Yes.
More so than the Sega CD
version,
one.
Right.
The game itself in the jewel case, it would come with, like, these really awesome stickers.
Oh, that's so cool.
So you got, like, the stickers that are in there. But the coolest thing about getting this is the manual itself.
Yes.
And
oh my god.
Getting all these, like, images and everything that's in there. Yeah, there's, like, a comic. You can probably find, like, PDFs or stuff like this, like, online.
I didn't know about the comic. That's amazing.
Yeah, this was, like, to set the mood and the feel and everything, like, before the game.
Cool.
This is such a 90s, like, thing to have comics, like, in video games to kind of set things up. Oh, I got a question for you. Have you ever played SD Snatcher?
I have the ROM for it, but I've never played it. I've never played it.
Highly recommend that you play SD Snatcher, and that's everybody that's in your chat or who's, like, listening and watching.
We're playing SD. Any excuse to play more Snatcher. I'm doing it. That's incredible.
It's the actual Snatcher story itself, but it has RPG elements and it has a targeting battle system that's a lot like Parasite Eve-ish, if I can say it like that. But it kind of goes into a little bit more plot that didn't get done in the original MSX Snatcher. So this was kind of like, and it plays out differently than the Snatcher that you know would be for this or for that. So
is Snatcher your favorite Kojima game then?
Snatcher is, like, one of my favorite Kojima games that's out there. I have Police Knots. I've streamed this before. This was pretty fun.
That's another good one.
I would love to see a translation for the PC-98, but that'll be really kind of hard because that was a CD disc game, and there's no actual text that comes up on the screen. It's all just voiceover, taking it over.
When I was visiting Tokyo a few years ago, I was actually able to get a Japanese copy of it.
And shucks, nice.
Yeah, and it came with the case. It came with, everything here, and like it reminds me of Snatcher. It came with, like, a little, book with all the artwork and stuff like that. Do you ever think there's gonna be another Silent Hill or Metal Gear, or do you think that's just kind of done as well?
My opinion on it is that I don't think that he should. So the reason is because I think he's been trapped. You know, and it's like you want to end something, you want to end a story, or it's like you've done a cartoon or you've done a comic or you've done something and it's been well received and everything, and then you're just like, okay, I want to stop this one and I want to do something else. But like it's gotten so big that like people are like, no, you have to do it, right? You have to do this thing. You have to make like another Metal Gear. Like you have to bring Snake back. None of this Raiden, like, or Raiden, however you want to say it, none of that stuff. We just want like, you know, the gruff smoking man.
The people
like
want
crawling
Snake,
around.
yeah.
People want that, and you should just like keep doing that for the rest of your life. And I feel like there's a lot of pressure. See, that's kind of the bad thing about the industry now and everything. It's almost like the music industry or movie industry, like right now and everything. And like there's all this pressure just to like keep doing the same thing because it's safe. Right. And it's like you could do safe and you can be like, okay, well, let's do this and let's try to do different things. So when you start to do different things, you start upsetting the fan base and people start to get upset. And sometimes it's just really good just to be like, you know what, I'm done and I'm going to do something else completely different. And if people are into that or they're excited, that's up to them, because everybody's an individual and you should like, yeah, you should be proud of your choices.
Right. I agree with you on that one. Like, would I love to see another Metal Gear? Yes, because I love it. Would I love to see another Silent Hill? Yes. Would Kojima do it, or do I think would he be the right person at this time to come back? I'm like, you know, I don't know. Like all things.
This would be this pandemic, like what's even going on in your chat. What people are saying with this pandemic, they would be kind of good if they were to make up and kiss.
If that would have ever happened, I just see it as like some Game Awards thing, and like what's his name, Jeff Keighley or something. He's like, oh, big announcement, and like they make it big and dramatic or something, and he
runs out and like, you know, they kiss.
It's like the flowers, like... the beach in the background, and, like they start saluting like in Metal Gear. So, like,
they're playing.
That'd be. Well, I made a bet with my channel that I would do a 24-hour stream if like another one of those games gets announced. So like, there's a part of me that wants one, but a part of me that doesn't want to uphold my end of the bet and do 24 hours. If you had to pick 3 games that truly defined what you do and where you're at right now with your involvement in games, like what would those games be?
Oh, geez, that's a really good question.
Like they left a big impact on you.
Like something, okay, so there was a couple of games that kind of left a really big impact on me in the last, like, ever since, like, lockdown and stuff started to happen and everything, and one of those was Dancing May, and we actually featured that game in one of the Dank Zines. Goemon did the cover, but we did this, did we feature it in this one? Oh, we didn't feature it in this one. I think we featured it in another issue, but like we did like a big story that was on like Dancing May. But that was kind of like a strange discovery because it was part of a download and I had no idea what it was. And the only thing that I could see who actually made the game, and they're kind of known for doing like a lot of like hentai, and it had spicy moments in it, but it was nothing. Right. And it was more or less like this was an actual game as opposed to some of their games where it's just like it's a visual novel and you don't really have options really, except for like, do you go in the room or not? And if you don't go in the room, nothing happens. Okay. Right? Like I didn't have a text hooker back in those times. So a lot of it was just like me trying to like figure out like how to do stuff, or I think I was just like picking it up at the first time. And yeah, so we actually finished the game and it was a lot of fun. And I was like, yeah, this is but that was a good game. I'm trying to think of another one that like I played. The big one that I played this year that was super special for me, and like I don't know if it was special for other people, but it was super special for me, was Captain Bible.
Captain Bible. For DOS. I've actually heard of that one.
Okay, good. It's a religious game, and it's you fight monsters by choosing the proper scripture to cancel out their lies, right? And at first I thought like this would be so easy, I'm gonna whiz through this, but the game got big and it got like really kind of interesting, and it had a lot of good faces too. Good faces. The pixel art was pretty good. Okay.
Let's say for whatever reason, some cosmic force, they're gonna take away all your games. They're only gonna leave you with 3 games for the rest of your life, that you can only play these 3 like until the end of time. What are those games?
Well, Earthbound would be one of them for sure, because I'm like, I could never get sick of that game. The next game I would probably get would be SD Snatcher, because like it's SD Snatcher, and like I think I could fill up a long time with that one.
Okay.
And the third game that I would probably get would probably be EVO, also known as like 46 Billion Year Story for the PC 98.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, they actually released a version of it for the Super NES, but it's nothing. It's the music. There's concepts and ideas and everything from it, but it's completely wild on like the PC 98. It's totally worth your time. I remember being in like a kid and seeing like a gaming magazine, and they had EVO. They're talking about EVO for Super NES.
Mm-hmm.
It's made for me, and it's in a completely different language, and it's on a computer I don't even know how to do. And I think little things like that, like at a young age, they kind of push you into getting excited and keeping it with you. Like, and I'm like, I remember it was like a couple of years ago. It's been several years now, but they had a fan translation that came out for it, and cool. you can play it because people love the game so much that they did that. And yeah, it's a game I always highly recommend, but it's also a game that I can just keep playing over and over and over and over.
Those are awesome choices. So I guess the second to last question, kind of an opposite of that. What is one game or one series that is really not your cup of tea? And what I mean by that is that you just don't understand why people like it so much. Like, you don't have to.
I know this one. I'm sorry. I'm going to break hearts. Persona 5. I'm sorry.
Uh-oh. No, I know some people who say that. You
need to dump your anime girlfriends for better anime girlfriends. Like, I used to like Persona when it was like just Dungeon Time like all the time, and
right
now it's like I feel like it's less, and it's like people are more like, I want to date these characters, and I'm like, it's a drawing.
Don't make fun of my anime girlfriend. No, I definitely understand that. I think that's a good answer. That's a fair answer.
But it's like, if you like it, it's your thing.
Yeah,
it's what you like, and if you love that sort of thing, that's totally what like you're into. It's just it's not for me. It's not my thing. I'd rather play like Pokemon Go on my phone, or like Solitaire, or like something else other than that. But that's just it. I mean, and it's like, I think I'm fair in saying that just because like I've played Persona games before.
So you know about them and what they are and stuff like that. So I guess to close it off, first of all, thank you for taking time to come on, my stream. I truly appreciate you taking the time to do so.
I'll try to get the cat to come up and say goodbye.
We got it. He's got to say goodbye too, right?
Oh, here. There you go. Yay.
Aw. Well, goodbye.
She hates it. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to me babble about old games and zines and everything. Like, follow me on Twitter. That's probably the best way to like find out when like I go live, or like when I post art all the time. I think I posted I did like so much. I could show off my new art I did today.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, let's see it.
Ooh, so this is Ease, not Ease, but Ease.
Okay. Not
Wise. And my friend Trap was actually streaming Ease for the PC 88 that was created all the way back in, I'm trying to think, 1989. I want to get the year right. Mm-hmm. But he was streaming it on actual hardware.
That's awesome.
This for his stream.
Yeah.
And it was pretty good. Yeah, I'm actually working on the most recent issue of the Dankzine. I know we have Dank art, like Goemon Sama is going to be in there as well. Chubo, who is a fantastic retro streamer as well, who you should totally go follow. He's got some artwork that he's going to be featuring in there. He's actually been playing like shareware DOS games
that's
lately.
Awesome.
So if you're into that,
I am.
And it's always fun.
That's cool.
It's super fun. Wow. I mean, that's the whole thing too. It is like, if you're always looking to find like new retro streamers or something, if you follow me on Twitter, I'll usually do art from whoever I'm watching and I'll share it. So just click on I always try to put like their link right in there. So like if people are just like, oh, I like this art, is someone totally playing this game right now? And then
yes,
you can go there.
Yeah. So thank you everybody tuning in tonight. I appreciate you being here. Thank you, AnnK, for coming out to stream with us. And again, I regularly stream on Tuesdays and Fridays, so I'll see everybody on Friday as well. And in the meantime, I'll post links later. Follow Ann, follow her recommendations, buy her zine, and I guess that's it. So until I see everybody next time, thank you. And Ann, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yay! Thank you for having me.
Have a good. Yep. So thank you, everybody. Stream is ending. Have a good night, and I will see you guys next time.
Because I was just like, if I'm gonna go into this, I'm gonna. Sorry.
No, that's.
She's trying to get treats. She's hungry.
Fair enough.
Here, just let me do this. Sorry, guys.
No,
this
it's fine.
This is the true star. This is the true star that everybody came to see.
Yeah, that's a secret. That secret's out, everyone. It's the.
That's Squash.
Yeah. Aww.